If you enjoy playing Gods Unchained, then it's a great time to be you because Dread Awakening is almost here and the team has officially dropped the spoiler. That's right, we can see all of the cards in the new set. We still can't play with them for about a week until the set drops, but they're all here. It's a lot of information. And rather than trying to go through everything, I feel like I've been doing a little too much like let's go through a million cards in one video. I thought it'd be cool to focus on a few of the most interesting cards. So I'm gonna try to keep this one snappy, move pretty quickly, and we're gonna go through my favorite, most interesting 10 to 20 cards from this new set. I just went through the whole spoiler. Here are the ones that jumped out at me. Going through one class at a time. I'll try to zoom in real big. So Crawling Madness, we're starting with the nature cards. This is a 3-cost card. It's a spell. Summon 3/1/1 ants that attack random enemy creatures, and then Dread Touched, which, in case you forgot, the new keyword means if you sacrifice one of your creatures. So Dread Touched, if you sacrifice a creature, then you can first give the ants afterlife, summon another ant with Blitz. This is interesting just because it's basically at 3 mana, a 1 energy cheaper version of Perseverance. The thing is, though, Perseverance targets one creature, whereas this targets random creatures. But when you Dread Touch it and you get the Blitz Ants, those can hit whatever you want to attack. Like, you can't get around Frontline like you can with Perseverance, but still, you do have some targeting. So I'm kind of wondering, is the randomness and the Dread Touch, is that too much of a drawback? Or is this going to be insane because Perseverance is one of the best spells in the game now, and this is like a cheaper version. So Crawling Madness, pretty interesting. Another removal spell for nature. I typed the wrong thing. Here we go. Red Swarm. This is a 2-mana spell. Deal 2 damage to an enemy creature. If it survives, summon 2/1/1 ants with Blitz. So it's you get to choose what you're targeting. And for example, if there's a 3 health creature, you can deal 2 damage to it, trade in an ant, and you have a leftover ant. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Canopy Barrage in the sense that you're getting 4 damage, but instead of being random, it gives you this sort of weird combination of things that you get to control. So I wonder, with Canopy Barrage being so good, is Raid Swarm going to be really good? Is it like potentially a little bit better, or at least an alternative? The ants are also creatures. They can activate Evner, I guess, or Food Chain, or a variety of other things. So kind of interesting there. Raid Swarm seems pretty cool. Then let's see, Cornered Howler. This one I think could cook. This one could cook. 3 energy creature with this guy, wandering in the swamp surrounded by evil wolves. Confused Blitz, 3 attack, 2 health, wild, the Roar. If your opponent controls more creatures than you, summon a copy of this. So when the condition is met, it's a 3 energy card, 3/2. Getting 2 of those, getting a double 3 attack Blitz for 3 energy, I think that's actually crazy. In aggro versus aggro matchups, that could be really helpful. For example, aggro nature versus aggro war, or aggro light, like anything that goes wide, this can get a lot of value. Confuse is a drawback, but I don't know, man. Double 3 attack blitzers for 3, even with the drawback, it feels like that has a lot of potential. All right, let's move on to some death cards. So Dread Mass. First, we have to talk about Dread. So what is Dread? There's a card we can actually look at that shows us what it is. Here it is. So Dread casts when drawn. Oh, I just blew it. I'm trying to scroll in so you guys can see it, but it's kind of small, but I'll read it out. So 0 mana, casts when drawn. Deal 2 damage to your god. Heal your opponent's god for 2. Draw a card. This is a curse that you shuffle into the opponent's deck. So, for example, Uninvited Guest, shuffle 2 Dread into your opponent's deck. So when they draw this, it instantly casts. They take 2 damage. You heal, and then they draw again. So it's a curse card, kind of like Bombs from Inconspicuous Carriage, or the Candy Chains that discard cards from your hand. That's how Dread works, just for context. So there's a few cards using Dread, and it all seems pretty interesting. Dread Mass, 2 energy spell. Summon a quote-unquote Dread Hive creature with frontline. Set its strength and health equal to the number of Dread in your opponent's deck. So if you get, let's say, 4 Dread in their deck, this will be a 2 mana, 4/4 frontline. If you get 6 Dread, it's a 6/6. And it seems like getting 4 to 6 Dread in the opponent's deck is going to be pretty doable in a Dread deck based on some of the other stuff in the set. So Dread Mass could be a really crazy frontline creature that could be like almost, I don't know, a Pyramid Warden kind of thing. Not really, because you have to set it up, but it could be a really strong frontline for death. Another one I noticed, Path of Death. This is kind of nuts. 2 mana spell. It says pull a card from your void to your hand. Your god takes damage equal to its mana cost. So you are taking some damage as part of this, as death tends to do. That could actually help Rock Drakes, though, for whatever new version of Rock Drakes. Damaging yourself is going to be helpful. More importantly, this is a 2 mana variation of the Radiant Embalmer, the light version of this that lets you pull a card from your void to your hand. This is 2 mana, whereas Radiant Embalmer, granted that's a creature, but still that one's 5 mana. So 2 mana is a lot less than 5. That's a completely different ball game. This, I mean, Reanimator Death has never had such a strong way to get things back from the void. I think Path of Death could be crazy. Did I spell this one correctly? Yeah, Valojin, Dread Trawler. 4 mana, 4 attack, 4 health, dragon creature. Roar, Dread Touched, Afterlife, and after this creature attacks, shuffle 2 Dread into your opponent's deck. So if you play this with Dread Touched for 4 mana, you're immediately putting 4 Dread into the opponent's deck, setting up that 2 mana card, Dread Mass, to get a 4/4 frontline, for example. If it dies, 2 more Dread. So this, if this attacks once and you Dread Touch, by the time it dies, the opponent has 8 Dread in the deck. So this alone is a good example of how I think Dread decks could be nutty. I mean, Dread deck is a potential day 1 deck for me, I think. Although this is legendary, but a lot of the cards hopefully won't be too hard to get a hold of. A few more death cards to glance at. Moths to a Flame, kind of like Death's equivalent of Nature's Drag Down spell, which is the mana surge. You know, remove all stuff 2 or less or 4 or less. That one is based on attack. This one's based on mana cost. So I guess it's kind of a bad comparison, which I'm just realizing now. Maybe I was thinking about that a little bit sloppily, because yeah, it's not actually that similar. It's mana cost as opposed to attack. I don't know. There's a few other cards like this. None of them have been playable. I don't think this is very good. I'm just curious, is it better than I think? Like, maybe this will be okay. I don't think it's that good, but I've got an eye on it just in case. Maybe this is better than I realize. I don't know. I'm looking at it right now as I record this live, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe that one's kind of silly. Maybe that one I was overrating in my head there. One more death card, Dread Rising, a 5 mana spell. Give each enemy creature -X/-X, all of their creatures, where X is the amount of Dread in your opponent's deck. So keep in mind that's not temporary. It's a permanent debuff, -X/-X. And you just saw just that one legendary card to give you an example of how easily you might be able to put Dread in the opponent's deck. I think this is actually, forget about that other one, Moths to a Flame. Dread Rising is going to be one of the standout death cards. I'm really thinking this Dread deck is going to be crazy. That feels like a day 1 deck for me as I talk about this and record this with y'all. If you're watching right now, by the way, please subscribe, like the video, etc. I'm going to drink my coffee here. It's late in the afternoon, but I'm still caffeinating. How it goes. All right, this is just a fun one. I don't think, I mean, it's 9 mana, so unless there's a way to combo it with a mana ramp thing, I don't know how strong this will end up being. Still, what a wild card. Reduce the strength and health of all enemy creatures on the board, in the hand, in deck, and in void by 4. So -4, -4. Obliterate any that have 0 health. So that's going to obliterate almost every creature anywhere in any of your opponent's gameplay zones. Like, the level of totality, the level of absolutely, like, demolishing everything, oblivion, annihilation. It's just the power level. This feels like a 9 mana spell. And I like this because since the Genesis days, they have kind of changed the definition of what 8 and 9 mana should get you. Like, you need a little more power to justify an 8 mana or a 9 mana card these days. So I like seeing some, even if it's a Timmy card, it's still fun. It's fun to see. Okay. Another one for War, Path of War, 1 mana. Delve a creature, a war creature with Blitz. Delving a Blitz creature, there's a lot of strong war Blitz creatures. I mean, Orcish Elite comes to mind. The Viking ship, long ship or whatever, 3/4 with the flank effect. Many, many others. I mean, there's a lot of strong Blitz. And in general, delving a Blitz creature, so you have 3 options, pick one, and they all have Blitz. That's just a very powerful, like, it's powerful because it gives you the option to find something that can help you once you see how the match is playing out, as opposed to having to hard commit to one option in the deck building phase. You can play this, and there's some variance, some RNG, but also the chance to get something after you kind of know what the match is starting to look like. So stuff like this, I mean, it's amazing in sealed, but it might even, I wonder if it gets played in ranked. Definitely in sealed, this kind of thing is nutty. An interesting one, Rally the Band, another 1 mana spell. For each, Aiko looking really like anime protagonist in this art, I feel like she's just like about to fight the final stage of the big boss after like 10 episodes of fighting. For each creature of a different tribe you control, delve a creature in your deck of the same tribe and draw it. That's a really weird with multiple conditions. Like, you need to have the creatures on the board and then other ones in your deck that have those tribes. But in theory, you could delve/draw like 3 or 4 creatures with this. So it is a potential 1 mana, draw 2, draw 3, draw 4. Like, and realistically, if you can just draw 2, I mean, if you can draw 1, even just because you get to delve one of the creatures out of your deck, you can find what you're looking for. That could be good enough. If you get 2, then the value prop is already pretty nuts. It's just going to be hard to build a deck that this gets value in, where the deck itself also makes any sense as a deck, like what the win condition is going to be. Still, the potential to draw a lot for a very low cost is intriguing there. And then this one we saw before the full spoiler. It was on the initial post about the set. Still, we got to give a shout out to Signy, Fallen Sister, 7 mana, War Legendary. Roar, your opponent summons the random highest mana cost creature from their hand, and then this attacks it. Dread Touched, gain protected first. So this will be, I mean, it's a 9 attack, 7 health. This kills Therial. Also, of course, slays Demogorgons, Ortux, and a variety of other things. Ember Onis, although those are budget cards. We don't need to slay those too hard. But this is going to be a really good end game. Oops, your big end game card, I just killed it and it didn't get its roar and you didn't get to control what happened, and oops, your Therial's gone. So this will be a fun one, or very unfun depending on what side you're on. Okay, next up we got some light cards. So first off, keep in mind anything, some of these light cards mention Lustric cultists, so those are 5/5 Aether tokens with burn 1. I don't know if we're going to even have to see those in the ones I'm about to show you, but yeah, 5/5 burn 1. So Oracle's offering, this was interesting, Soulless, pull the top 2 spells of your Void to your hand. Dread Touched, reduce their mana cost by 2. So I don't know if Control Light, Order Light type stuff might play this. I mean, it's a 2-for-1. It can get you more opportunities to play your Censures, your Yukos, -1/-1, Soulless, whatever that one's called. I play so many card games right now, I can't remember the name of anything. But, all of your order cards, all your order spells, especially Censure in particular. And this has Soulless, but it doesn't give the cards it draws Soulless. And then you get to ramp the cost down. You could also use this to get Lysander's Mercy back in your hand, but it only costs 5 this time. Maybe it costs 6 the first time because of Tidal Prayer. So I don't know. Oracle's offering, interesting, could be good in Control Light. Always got to, update the Control Light, Order Light stuff. And then Lustric Oracle, which is right next to it. I don't know. Is this good enough for ranked, or is this kind of card not ever good in ranked? It's going to be crazy in sealed is what I really thought. So 3 mana creature, 3/4 Aether. Lots of Aethers in this set, by the way. Roar, add a 2/2 Acolyte to your hand. That's a 1 mana 2/2. Dread Touched, add 3 instead. So the value prop is insane. You get 1 Acolyte on the board, play this, Dread Touched the Acolyte, get 3 more in your hand. So you can basically turn 1 Acolyte into 3. Just in sealed, 3/4 is already a strong stat line. Go watch some of my core sealed tier lists where I go through the whole core set, and you can hear me talk about like how the stat lines work at different energy costs. Look at the early game core tier list. You'll see me talk a lot about the 3 drops and the 3/4s. So 3/4 for 3 is already good, and then 3 acolytes for a dread touch. Considering you're gonna have acolytes available anyway, might be playing Call of the Light. You can just use your GP, etc. This is gonna be nutty. I think. I mean, in sealed, I'm pretty confident. What else? What's next? Path of Light. This is a fun one. Again, in sealed, probably going to be really good just because you get to delve something that will save you from whatever spot you're in. And again, in ranked, I'm kind of curious. So 2 energy, delve a light legendary and add it to your hand. It doesn't say creature or spell. I guess just any card. So pick between 3 light legendaries. I mean, legendaries are strong. And getting to pick one amazing and sealed. I wonder if it's at least like mid-tier viable and ranked. I doubt it'll be optimal, but can we run some fun decks that run stuff like this just for the meme and have them be okay? I don't know. I love delving. Can you tell? I love to delve. To the rescue. I was curious. Do you guys think this is going to be good? Is this good cycle? 2 mana, give a friendly creature armor 1, draw a card. Is armor 1 good enough that on a cycling 2-drop, this is worth it? Again, I have high hopes in sealed, but this could actually be a thing. Maybe you combine it with Argus. Maybe you run Cadmos, Son of Lysander, and you give it. Well, this wouldn't work. No, it wouldn't work with Cadmos. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Argus, maybe the Pacifist, the 1 mana, whatever, the 1/1 when it gets up to 10 health, it becomes a frontline. That one, like any frontline creature, or just put this on a Pyramid Warden. Turn 3, Pyramid Warden, Pip to the rescue. Now you have a 2/6 armor 1. Then they use Curse of Greed. Your Warden gets killed anyway. I don't know. The fact that it cycles means it might be good. I'm putting this on watch as a card that might surprise people. I think cycling in this game is generally a little bit underrated. I think To the Rescue could be good. Also worth noting, there's a ton of interesting Chosen One stuff. I don't want to go too deep into it because we're already going longer than I meant. I have a hard time making any video that goes less than 20 minutes, apparently. What the hell? I'm working on it. But yeah, a lot of stuff. If the Chosen One has 10 or more health, obliterate that creature instead. As an example on this card, Bearer of Change. There's a card called Fist of Dread. Is this right? Deal the Chosen One's strength as damage to a creature. We got this one is the most crazy. Ilarak. At the start of the game, this becomes the Chosen One. Roar. If this has 10 or more health, set your opponent's god's max health to 10. Max health. That is the anti-healing light as well as anti-nature with the 40 health. You know, like is it clear that I can't remember any card names? Winter's Bounty. This is the anti-health buff card that I think people have been waiting for a while. So Ilarak, the only problem with this is that is it actually going to be good against anything else other than Heal Light and occasionally Control Nature? Because if not, it's not going to be very playable. But a lot of wacky light stuff. Let's keep moving, though. Deception is next. Tooth Fey. 2 mana, 2/3, hidden for 1 turn. After this creature attacks, add a random card to your hand from your opponent's domain. Hold on, I'm getting dried up again. Stay hydrated always. Okay. I think this will be really good in sealed. Anything that's hidden for a turn tends to be pretty good in sealed. It's got the Nether tag, which is a nice bonus. There's no way adding a random card from your opponent's domain will ever be good enough for ranked. But in sealed, I expect Tooth Fey to be great. Okay, this is the crazy one, though. This is the one for Deception. The Nocturnal. 2 mana. 3/2 creature, Nether tribe, Roar. Gain control of a sleeping enemy creature until end of turn. Remove sleep and give it blitz. Like, 2 mana mind control, and all they have to do is sleep. It doesn't have any other limitation. You can steal a 9 mana creature. Like, put them to sleep with Dark Precarian for 1 energy, and then you play this and you steal it, you trade it into something else, you just clear 2 other creatures. This is really strong mind control. As long as the sleeping condition isn't more conditional than I think, but like there's so many ways to put things to sleep now. Just Dark Precarian being the best for deception. It costs 1 mana. Like, I think Nocturnal could be crazy. It could make the other stuff available just not, I mean Umber Arrow is already really good, and I think this might nutty, you know what I'm saying, in the same vein as that, because this can target anything as long the Nocturnal is going to be nutty. And then there's another one, which is a permanent version, the Puppeteer, 4 mana spell. Put an enemy creature to sleep. If it's already asleep, gain control of it, and that permanent. So some serious mind control creature stealing stuff, which I think is going to be very strong. Then you also got this one, 5 mana, 4/5 guild creature, legendary Lysel, which has a roar that says, gain control of the weakest enemy creature until end of turn. Dread touched, gain the strongest instead. A lot of mind control for deception, I think is gonna be fun. Also, this card will be cracked beyond belief in sealed. 5 mana spell, Cradle of Secrets. Add 5 random cards from your opponent's domain to your hand. Dread touched, reduce their mana cost by 2. 5 cards reduced by 2 in sealed. That is going to be so nutty. Also, look at that artwork. Holy shit, this guy's getting fucked up by that spider. Goddamn. Deception's going to be nuts. I think Deception's going to be nuts. Also, by the way, everyone's favorite mechanic is back. That's right, card stealing. Roar, add a copy of a non-legendary card in your opponent's hand to your hand. Dread touched, pull, aka steal the chosen card instead. So for 5 mana, you can steal a card from your opponent's hand again, and a Dread touch, a sacrifice. There's another one, friend or foe, a bit limited in options, but 3 mana spell. Pull a random highest mana cost card in your hand to your opponent's hand. Then pull another random highest mana cost card in your opponent's hand to your hand. A very cautious card steal. You give them one of yours, they give you one of theirs, not of their choosing. So the other one is stronger, the creature. The Dream Eater is the stronger of the two. For sure. But yeah, we're getting back into some card steal, which does seem necessary because you need a variety of ways to at least like punish and limit people's options in their hand now that combo decks are getting increasingly common in Gods Unchained meta. Or at least there's more options. And then this was another fun one. Karst, Stealer of Souls, 6 mana, 5/5 Nether. After a creature leaves your opponent's void, summon a soulless base copy of it with Blitz. Roar, obliterate a creature from your opponent's void. So the first creature you obliterate, you're going to summon a base copy with Blitz. This one seems really cool. I don't have too much to say about it, but it seems really cool. And then one more class now. We got Mage. There's some nutty Mage cards. There's a whole thing called Eldritch Mysteries or something, which is a whole system. We're not even going to go into that, but just looking at some of the more interesting cards aside from that. Peer Within is a 2 energy spell. 4/5. Dread touched. Draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's mana cost. So you could sacrifice a 7 cost creature and draw 7 fucking cards. I mean, you usually don't want to draw that many because of hand size being limited, but like, that might be one of the strongest. Is that the strongest draw in the game now? Because it's only 2 energy. It's only 2 energy to draw up to 9 cards. Like, of course, you have to set it up, but I feel like this might be the strongest draw in the game. At least one of them. You can draw so... I mean, the only thing is you usually don't want to draw 5, 6, 7 cards a turn. You usually want 1 or 2 or 3 turn after turn re-upping. You don't really want like all of it at once because, again, you'll mill. But I don't know. That seems nutty. We'll see. I'm kind of curious on that one. Path of Magic, 1 mana spell. Delve a magic spell with mana cost equal to your current unspent mana. I really like this design because it's very skillful. Like, how much mana do you leave unspent before you play this to, aim for certain spells, to aim for like 3 costs or 4 costs? Like, what mana cost gives you the best chance of getting something useful? What do you want to useful? What do you want to go for? What do you want to try to get? The game knowledge is massive there. It's going to be tough for beginners to play that card correctly, but really interesting in terms of just how much optionality there is. This is a fun one. Again, I love delving, so I always like these. Delve a magic spell twice for 2 mana. That's again sealed, baby, sealed. My love of delving is exactly why I like to play sealed sometimes. That'll be fun. And then this, oh, by the way, I think this card is utterly insane. Were Rat, 2/4 Mystic. After another creature survives damage, transform it into a 1/1 rat. You play this when there's already other stuff on the board, and then you attack with your other creatures, and you can have a bunch of cheap, 1/1 guys and just transform their whole board into 1/1 rats. Like, this is similar to a card from Parallel TCG called Master Poisoner, which is also a 4 energy card. Similar effect. It destroys creatures that take combat damage. But like this design, when a card says like when other cards survive damage, destroy them or transform them into 1/1s, like this is a very strong removal effect. Putting this on a 4-drop, I think this might end up being a staple in Control Mage going forward. One neutral card to point out. If you get annoyed by Anubians, we have more Anubian hate, and it'll also work against any void-based deck like Death Dragons, like Void Dragons, and a bunch of other stuff. Gate of Souls, 2 mana, 2/4, frontline, can attack, roar, give each enemy creature soulless. That's right. That's right. It's Yukos and Eclipse on a creature and a neutral in terms of the soulless effect, that is. So this is a good one for that day when you queue in to too many Anubians. Guys, there are so many cool cards in this set. Lots of fun new strategies. Day one, I'm definitely interested in those Dread decks, as well as some like aggro nature type stuff. If some of the nature stuff works, that looks really fun with all the ants. I don't know. I mean, there's so many things like stealing creatures with deception. I don't even know what the hell War is trying to do, but if we can make Aurora of Oblivion work, I mean, that'd be a very fun Timmy moment, or Signy Fallen Sister. Honestly, Sealed is going to be a lot of fun in this set, though. Like, I feel like more than anything, a lot of these cards I'm thinking, oh, I want to play that in Sealed. Oh, I want to play that in Sealed. Like, lots of delves, and I think the Dread Touch mechanic will actually be pretty good for Sealed. Like, I could see it being... I mean, listen, Nature and Light are going to be real strong with those Dread Touch mechanics in Sealed, so... I don't know. Everyone's always like, yeah, Sealed is okay, but what about Ranked? I get it, but I don't know. I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking it's going to be a really fun Sealed set. Looking forward to both. I'll see y'all on the battlefield. Can't wait. Dread Awakening. What are your favorite cards now that the whole spoiler's out? Let me know in the comments, and that's all I got for you this time. Flux, signing out.